Power-ups are an iconic feature in many video games, and the Metroid series is no different. Powering up slowly but surely to trek through more and more areas in a world is an amazing way to gauge your progression. Metroid has handled this in a particularly interesting way, having tons of power-ups over the various games in the series, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite power-ups in the series. Now of course this isn't a list of the best power-ups, just my personal opinion on what I think are the best ones. But anyway, on with the countdown. Probably the most iconic symbol of the Metroid series besides the Varia suit has got to be the Morph Ball. As simple as a concept as it is, it gave way for a lot of unique items to use for progression. From bombs to climbing on walls, this nifty little accessory has been a staple in Samus's arsenal for the entire series. And my personal favorite augmentation of this ability is the Boost Ball. The Boost Ball is a simple item. It just allows Samus to charge up the kinetic energy in her Morph Ball and shoot across the ground for a short distance. But the things you can do with this ability are why I love it so much. From activating certain switches, to evading damage, to just plain old ramming into enemies, this is one incredibly useful skill. And it also allows you to be a skateboarder without a skateboard, and I really like that. Every one of Samus' suits has unique functions and abilities in the games they're in. From the Varia suit allowing Samus to survive extreme temperatures, to the PED allowing Samus to absorb Phazon and use it as a weapon. But by far my favorite of these suits has to be the Dark suit from Metroid Prime 2. This suit just looks amazing. It's got such a cool color scheme, looking almost worn and rusted, but it's still having a definitive shine to it. It definitely looks like it has some battle damage, but the aesthetics are just so beautiful regardless of that. It's just a beautiful suit, and it's the suit you spend the most time in Metroid Prime 2, and while the Varia suit is more iconic and the Light suit more powerful, you can't go wrong with giant shoulder pad yo-yos. Samus has a variety of different types of movement upgrades present throughout the series, the Morph Ball obviously being her most useful, but there is one other ability that turns this huntress into a flying demigod. The Screw Attack is the most useful ability in the series to me. With the exception of the Prime series, where it was merely a means to get across large gaps, in the 2D Metroid games, and arguably even Other M, the Screw Attack is exactly what it should have been, an extension of Samus' physical offensive capabilities, allowing her to somersault in the air and strike enemies with an energy field that surrounds her entire body while she does so. This ability is incredibly useful, and can KO almost all regular enemies in most of the games it appears in. I love this item so much. I've actually tried killing normal enemies with only this ability in Other M, and while it does take some time later in the game, boy is it satisfying when they finally go down. Sort of an underrated ability in the Prime series would have to be the various visors you obtain in the games. It added a layer of personalization to the games, allowing you to see what Samus sees. Since the Prime series was in first person, the visor system was a natural extension of Samus' ability to solve puzzles and even help her defeat certain enemies. But out of all the visors, my favorite one has to be the Echo Visor from Metroid Prime 2. This is, from what I can see, the most underappreciated ability that Samus possesses in Prime 2, possibly in the entire series. But I can't understand why. It may be a bit limited, but that I believe comes from being one of the last abilities you gain access to. But once you turn it on, boy do things turn out weird. Unlike the Dark Visor, Thermal Visor, or even X-Ray Visor, the Echo Visor removes almost all physical vision. That is to say your ability to determine an object's physical outline using the visor. The Echo Visor relies entirely on sound vibrations in order for you to see, making you have a daredevil vision. And undoubtedly my favorite data entry in Metroid Prime 2 comes from this visor, and it's located in the room with the Dark Burst in it. On the floor, you'll see a dead Luminoth who, when you scan him, the data file says this.
Subject Luminoth was blind, possibly from birth. Damaged cybernetic augmentation is present. A sonic imaging device enabled this subject to see the world around him.
Ah, beam weapons. Samus has so many to choose from her iconic Power Beam, to the Plasma Beam, the Dark Beam, the Nova Beam. The amount of possibilities with her trusty arm cannon are possibly endless. But to me, without doubt, the most useful of these beams, and my personal favorite weapon of them all, is the Ice Beam. One of the quintessential abilities Samus possesses, the Ice Beam is useful in every game it's in. From Prime giving it the attributes similar to a shotgun with high power but low firing rate, from Super Metroid and Zero Mission where it allows you to freeze enemies to make them into platforms. This beam weapon is so versatile, so efficient, so excellent that I can barely put it into words. Here, just watch for yourself how awesome this weapon is.